uh, tonight because, yeah, last week I couldn't talk. I mean, I was like, I was really, really sick.
Well, this is absolutely, you should not be doing something like this when you're in that case, you know.
I mean, it was like talking was because Rami actually called me while I was laying down.
Know. Yeah, I know we were all together, and then
we-
Romney, and it's funny, you know, here we are close to you, you know, we're not even a long distance call, and he's the one that calls from England. I don't think I have your phone number though.
No, I don't have your phone number either.
I can put it in chat here for you.
Yeah, you might do that, because I say the logical person to have called would have been Beth or I, because, you know, it's a local call.
Right.
Well, what did you have? The flu or something?
I really don't know. I was just like, I had to take massive Alka-Seltzer cold medicine, and then I took the honey lemon echinacea Ricola cough drops, and I had like 2 bags of those because my throat was on fire. I was coughing. I couldn't. It was terrible. It was really bad.
Wow. It wasn't COVID, was it?
I don't think so. No. I mean, it was just and everybody's getting sick around my area now because there's a lady that I went to a meeting with tonight that couldn't show up tonight because she was having the same symptoms. So it was just
maybe something that's going around.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah,
exactly. So
Owner.
So
owner is Keith, right?
Keith. Hi, Keith.
Yeah, I'm off in the distance for a second.
Okay, no worries. Unchanged Keith. An iPhone. That is not iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone is Beth.
Beth.
No,
right?
I'm on the iPhone, yes, but I'm also on video. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put you as Beth so that.
Yes.
Beth is a better name than iPhone.
Than iPhone, yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow when I think of the word iPhone, I don't think of Beth.
Well, John, I've had some physical issues too, and it's hard when you're in pain and when you're just your body is painful. Even though I know I'm selfless self, it's hard not to be somewhat preoccupied with body stuff.
Well, I mean, like Maharaj has said, and even when he was doing the one circle thing, food body problems, they're going to occur. The food body is a 5 elemental body, and therefore it can experience disturbances. You, the selfless self, are not touched, but all the senses that are being kind of absorbed through the body, that is a 5 elemental body that is experiencing an elemental change, they're going to be felt. And it's just going to be, it's not as difficult because you're not like, oh my God, I'm so sick. But there's definitely sickness here. And just like Maharaj says, you go and get the medicine. I took the Alka-Seltzer cold medicine, which is really good stuff. And the honey lemon echinacea from Ricola, that's amazing. I mean, whenever I've had a sore throat, I take that honey lemon echinacea and it's just like, boom, gone.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff.
Those are cough drops?
Yeah, Ricola.
Yes, right. Yeah,
And,
I have some of those. Yeah. They are good. Yeah.
Yes. And then, like I said, the Alka-Seltzer cold medicine, every 4 hours I was taking the tablets. And it's cool because it was in a box that had like nighttime and daytime. So you take the ones in the day, and then right as you're going to bed, boom, you do the one at night. Hopefully you sleep through the whole night. If not, then you take another one of the night ones. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Those Alka-Seltzer cold medicine, right?
Yes.
That's what it was. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Cold and cough, I think, is what it was
Cold and
called.
cough.
But yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, are you pretty good now? Are you?
Oh, yeah,
did
yeah.
You miss some days of work?
No, because I work from home. So
I know, but you were able to work through it?
yes.
Yes.
I mean, they could obviously tell on Teams when I was giving my little status updates. I was like, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, from working from home, that's one of the benefits of working from home. No matter how bad you feel, I
You
can
can
still show up in front of this computer, sit in this chair, and do my thing.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh. Mhm. You're pretty good now?
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
feel much better.
Uh-huh.
100%.
Good. Good.
Good.
I think mine was the most ridiculous call I think you had ever.
I mean, it's okay. It's all good. That's good. No worries. You called, and just to let everybody know, the Ramakant Maharaj Dakshina.net, or, if you don't want to have that whole long website, you can just go to the YouTube channel, and that link will be on the YouTube channel, and you go there and it'll say like next Tuesday talk won't be until, whenever. And then you'll say, oh, okay, so we're not having it this time. So, because I did change it. Now, truly, I didn't change it until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because even I was saying, okay, master, I don't think this is possible. And because I don't like canceling them, because so, but it wasn't possible. So
Mhm.
it's practical. And we just said, yeah, I can't do it. That's it.
Mhm. Well, we met, the five of us or whatever, we met.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good,
we just talked and
We talked.
it was fine. I mean, it's not like we've, gotten in our cars and driven a long distance to. a
Right,
meeting.
right.
I mean, there are cases where, that it would be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, we did our Canada, India, Ohio, and Virginia.
Good.
And Cleveland.
And yeah, oh yeah.
Well,
I
Ohio.
said Ohio.
Yeah, Cleveland, Ohio. So.
We learned that Trish is rich kid.
It's what?
Rich kid.
Which rich?
Yeah, Trish is rich, right? So she said she won $500,000, right? In the stocks.
Who did?
I don't know about
Trish was telling last week.
I guess I didn't hear.
Yeah, that's that. John, yesterday, I don't know if I'm digressing. Yesterday night, I was
Hold on.
listening
First
to-
off, cut it. No digress, no progress. For in the reality, only the appearance that you believe yourself to be, that hopefully is fading, can have progress or digress.
Yeah.
So let's start from there.
Let this appearance digress from the things you guys are talking. And I was also involved. The thing was, yesterday night I was watching one of the Krishnamurti's video about observer is the observed. One thing, it's a common theme in Krishnamurti's teaching. Yeah, like suddenly it clicked, thought projects the I or whatever, that self. Like, there is some idea that says I don't like it, or some emotion, whatever you call, that is the I. It never existed if there is no thought. The thought is the coming from the memory, whatever that. So now if we keep all this thought business aside, actually thought is something useless, to hold on to. So something where the thought is appearing, you can call it beingness or whatever that. I think that has the answer, not this intellectual game. Just, you say just be, right? So I think
Yeah, I would forget all about that and remain with your selfless self. Because when he's sitting there saying, witness the witnesser, observe the observer, or can the observer be observed? That is not a question to be answered through mind. Oh, yes, there we go. I should stop looking at thoughts and only observe the observer. No, that's remain with your selfless self, because selfless self is the answer to all questions. And then there's no need to say, should I look at thoughts or not? Because when you're remaining with your selfless self, this concept won't arise in mind. This black hole that you are sucks in all illusory concepts. That's why we say, remain with your selfless self. That's why it's so important, rather than, the reading is good to hit and say, okay, there is a selfless self. I am that. Now, it's your duty to discover this. And then to stop asking questions, because all questions are answered from that you are. And again, in order to have a question, you have to pose yourself as a body form. The formlessness has no questions. What question could space possibly have about anything? There's nothing. So that's why you remain with your selfless self. Nisargadatta Maharaj says, remain with the I am. Sri Ramakant Maharaj says, remain with the selfless self. Just die, just die. Oh, I have a question about who the observer is and why it's not good to get caught up in thoughts. If I'm here, there's no such thing. No such thing as thought, time, space, nothing. And not even the concept of nothing, literally nothing. You are in that prior to beingness. Just die. And you remain. Because all teachers are pointing to one thing: accept your selfless self. There's no God, no Brahman, no Paramatman, no master, nothing's there. When you remain with your selfless self, this truth becomes self-evident, which is why in the body-based illusion, they call that self-realization. I realize there's nothing other than this self, that I am. So there's no more need to figure it out. There's no more need to use body-based illusory knowledge to discover myself. I discover myself with myself. Here. I say, okay, is the world illusion? This concept doesn't arise. What is Brahman? Am I Brahman? This concept doesn't arise when you remain with your selfless self. Is it good to try and have no mind? Okay, I remain with my selfless self. And what is mind? This concept doesn't arise. There's nothing. There's just a sense of existence, only felt because there's a body form available. Otherwise, there's no way that there could be the concept of duality enough to say, oh, I sense myself, because there would just be yourself. Prior to beingness, you're the selfless self. Currently, you're the selfless self. After the body is no more available for you, you're the selfless self. You won't have the experience of existence because there will be nothing in that. There's no instrument to produce the concept of duality, because there will just be you.
But generally, I caught up with, I don't say everybody, so caught up in the identification of the body.
No body. What's the body? Body is a lump of 5 elemental goo. How can you identify with goo?
That's the, how can I say?
But isn't the body we use? Why we can know we are you. I am you through the.
It's the media. Just like you can't watch television without a TV. You can't know yourself without a body. It's the media to know yourself in a real sense. The television
So
is an inanimate, empty box that when the power is
Mhm.
provided, it produces images on the screen and we can be entertained. Because it's the media which is allowing the projection. Without the TV, television still is existing. You're just not able to, quote, tune in because you don't have the media available to do so.
In the I am that, right? So when the question, one of the instance questioner asks, like, you are special guy and I can't experience what you experience, then Maharaj says, you can experience what I'm experiencing now. So you just focused on wrong things. He says like something like, you focused on wrong things, like, body and mind, and you are identified with it, and but you shift that identification, that focus from body and mind, and what I am experiencing, you also experience. So I'm not
Because
special
there's no
person.
experience. That's the ultimate experience. No experience, no experiencer.
Okay. As
Remember the questioners. If you read I Am That and understand that it's the selfless self that has some doubts about being the selfless self, and Nisargadatta Maharaj is the selfless self that has no doubt about being the selfless self, and the selfless self is conversing with itself in the form of, I'm not quite sure, I'm the selfless self, and the other one is saying, I'm absolutely sure, I'm the selfless self. That's it. You don't read it as a questioner. And then, because see, if you read it as a body, mind, form, and you read it as a questioner, even Maharaj has tricked sometimes in the people when he says, do you believe what they're saying? And the egoistic sense is, we do not believe this person has this knowledge and this and that. And Maharaj says, what are you, stupid? This person's been here with me for like 2 days. You have been here for years and you're questioning what they're saying? You're not getting it. And that's only because you believe yourself to be someone separate and you're the selfless self. So when the questioner is asking a question, you say, that doesn't sound right. And Maharaj does that. He points it out. He says, do you believe what they're saying? And, and that's a beautiful thing because from the egoistic sense of self, I have to say, well, Maharaj is the only one that's realized. And certainly this person who's only been here 2 days could not be realized. But the truth is, Maharaj is saying, you're not separate. You have the questioner, which is the selfless self, pure, but saying, Maharaj, I have this doubt. I have this issue. I have that issue. And Maharaj is the selfless self responding, absolutely knowing that I'm the selfless self. The other one is the selfless self. We put Q on the page or whatever, but only the selfless self that's responding as a doubt. That's it. That's why the whole Das Bod is exactly that way. It says the listeners will now pay very close attention. There was a doubt that was raised. And then you have like 60 different little paragraph things. And at the end, it says, now the doubts are cleared. And the listener will pay a specific attention to the next. How can all these doubts be cleared? Because they're non-existent. They're kind of self-created doubts.
Yeah. So
Because you still believe you're Rami on this spiritual journey, having this amazing spiritual experience and getting closer to the ultimate understanding of truth. But in reality, you are the selfless self that is removing the illusory layers of the concept of Rami.
like now we are conversing, and there is the
There
application
is conversation going on. There's not actually a you and me conversing. There's speaker and listener are the same. It's just a flow. Just like electricity, just flowing without purpose.
but there is a local identification with that flow, like, there are the various entities, you can say, in the consciousness or whatever that. So these entities are the movement in the consciousness. Now, each entity is identified with that local movement. Now, this movement, trying to trying to understand what is this consciousness, but that never is gonna happen. You know,
Of course,
the thought.
because Rami, you're a lump of 5 elemental goo. Think about this right now. If I was like a magician and I said presence would disappear from Rami, and I'm just presence will disappear from John. But now presence is formless, presence is everywhere. Now let's say presence goes back to Rami, speaking is happening. But is it Rami's presence? Is it like presence when it leaves Rami? It's now suddenly like still kind of in the, like you see in the cartoons, a little bit shape of Rami, but kind of transparent. And we say, oh, that's his soul leaving and this and that. You know, this is not true. There is presence. The space in the room utilizing that 5 elemental goo, the space in the room utilizing this 5 elemental goo, and being able to have language because we're in the body-based illusion. But the body-based illusion is occurring within yourself. And it's not Rami's self and John's self. It's selfless self. There's no individuality. Even selfless self inside of Rami, right now, there is no individuality. Only the concept of individuality because of identification with the body as I am this.
Yeah, yeah.
And this just needs to be removed.
Yeah, believing that I am this. Yes, yes.
Because you're not that.
Yeah. So that is the, biggest myth, everybody just live so happily without understanding, like, everyone, most of us, we play the role.
You just remain with your selfless self. That's really all it's about. Because then you can't be anything other than yourself. And anytime you believe yourself to be other than yourself, you remain with your selfless self. That's why Maharaj says, be with you always.
What about the feeling of the concept of self doesn't exist, but what about the feeling of a self as if it feels like something anyway? Not
You
just
exist. There's a sense of existence because of a body form. Now that's it. That's why Maharaj says your consciousness is like this sense of existence, this I am, that's your only property, so to speak. And all these concepts are illusory layers built on that. And that is not true. The sense of existence is not true. It's only within the illusory body-based concept of duality that you can feel I exist.
But then sometimes I recognize that I don't exist as an individual, and it feels differently. It feels so much more expansive and like loving or whatever.
Loving, even, this is another thing like spirituality. Oh, we're loving and give hugs. And
it's just
the love is self-love because there's nothing other than yourself. And the feeling is an absence of all illusory troubles. The absence of, like Maharaj says, you are disturbing the peace. Without you, there is peace. And not the concept of peace, pure peace, absence of all disturbance, because there's an absence of attributes, good or bad.
It's still a feeling, though.
Through body form, yes, it's that subtle, that's the feeling that you want to catch hold of, because yes, I feel this. It's a subtle, subtle feeling. Just I, just I. This sense of presence, this I am, this I exist. Sri Ramakant Maharaj calls it the selfless self. Self without self. Just I, just I. This can be felt because you're holding a body in the illusory world. When this body is no longer available, this sense of presence will not be felt, but it will be there.
How can you say
because that you are?
How can you say if you say you know it'll be there, that's saying it from a perspective of being a body.
Of course, no. You're saying that the one that knows they exist exists. This is like the most basic. That's why you remain with your selfless self. The one that knows the sense of existence exists prior to knowing the sense of existence, and will exist whether they know their sense of existence or not.
It does seem to know itself. But it's
Only within the illusory body-based existence. Otherwise, there's no knowing, because there's nothing above. In order to know something, there has to be something above. Like above the knowingness. I have to know something. Even in the illusory body-based existence, in order to know something, I have to say, oh, I know this. I know this. But in reality, there is only reality. There is nothing above to know. Even if you say, okay, well, it's still all knowing. Like when we call God, Brahman, Paramatman, Master, it's all knowing. Okay, that is true. The knowingness is there because when there's something to be known, knowingness arises immediately. There's an object to be known and there's knowingness. There's a sense of existence because there's something that exists.
And that's so misleading about the mind, is it equates.
Forget about mind. Mind came along with the body and is only a flow of thoughts identified with to kind of produce this illusory existence and to keep it maintained. Because without a mind, you can't pretend that this world is real and that you're in it. You need a mind to tell you, John, this is very important. I don't like this. I don't like that. I hope this happens. I'm very scared about that. You need a mind flow to identify with. Otherwise, the sense of illusory existence can be seen through very easily. And that's why when you know yourself in a real sense and remain with your selfless self, illusion that evaporates. It's gone because there's no sense of a concept of illusion. Just die, just die.
See, I end up equating existence with knowing, and therefore
existence is existence. Knowingness is an attribute on existence that's really not needed, because when existence is all of one, there's nothing to know. In the illusory body-based existence, because this form is available, and suddenly the formlessness says, I am this form. Now there's many things to be known, and knowingness then sprouts. But when space does not know its space, that's why Maharaj all the time, he says, if at all you want to compare yourself to sky or space.
So would you say knowingness has no existence?
There's no knowingness.
There is no knowingness. So it has no existence yet.
Exactly. If you look out, when you remain with yourself with self, and you look out like this window here, everything that is being seen is illusion, and only the seer is any kind of real. And when you're looking out, how can this formlessness be like involved in any of that? Like the space, you could say, okay, there's a spatial wave and it collides into these houses. But space is space, and there's wind, but wind is within the space.
It's all room. It's like you're the room, and everything else is just.
And there's no interaction. There's no way to. That's why you don't worry about this illusory world, because you know yourself in a real sense. Now, of course, you still do your job, do your duties, take care of all your responsibilities.
You don't call that interaction, though.
No, because it's spontaneous action in the moment. And see, if you were to try to be like a renunciate, so to speak, and be like, you know what? Because like, I think it's Ashtavakra Gita that talks about don't even blink your eyes. That's too much effort. But that's not what it means. It's not like I'm going to sit here and stare and not blink my eyes. Oh, I'm not blinking because that's too much effort. Now I'm putting in effort to be effortless. Effortless is spontaneous action in the moment. There's no need to try to be effortless. And if you are trying to be effortless, that's some effort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's how
that
you
means
get, that's how I get
no
in
sense
the
of doership, right? No sense of doership.
Exactly. You know, you can say, you know what, I'm going to quit my job and stay on the beach. Or like Maharaj always gives the example, I'm going to go to the Himalaya mountains and, and meditate. And there are people who will come to him after having done that for a long time. I remember the one guy who came from the Himalayan mountains, he was in a cave for a while. Like he thought that that was going to be it. And then he came to Maharaj, and Maharaj was like, you're moving this body that you are not from place to place. You're sitting in a cave, denying yourself the food and the water and believing that somehow this is spirituality. But spirituality has nothing to do with the body-based existence. As a matter of fact, by performing all these rituals, you're getting deeper and deeper into the body-based illusion, believing that I'm performing all of this. Plus, it's also more difficult to release the illusion of the body when you've been torturing it and thinking that that's leading you closer to being spiritual.
Well, that
Yeah.
stuff is supposed to work similar to mantra, supposedly.
No, but it doesn't, because again, just like Maharaj says, egoistic spirituality will never lead you to your own selfless self. It cannot, because by itself, it's egoistic. There's a sense of doership, a sense of pride. All these sort of things start to pile on.
But if you're doing things you don't really want to do,
Okay, then you're trying to say, I'm sacrificing what I prefer to do in the name of spirituality.
that's not real selflessness.
Of course not. See, spontaneous action in the moment, knowing yourself in a real sense. That's the true renunciation. Because why am I going to go chase after gold and like anything really when I know myself in a real sense? That's why they give the example of a sage, a mound of dung and a mound of gold is the same. And people say, no, 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 like they'll definitely want the gold more. No, it's the same because both are illusion.
It occurred to me just a little while ago that the term selfless self, even if you take it as give it some kind of reality, it sets up resistance against actual awareness of the presence of the selfless self.
Well, and see all of that, even awareness of the presence of the selfless self.
Yeah.
Remain with
Even-
your selfless self.
Right, right.
There's no need for words. The more words you use, the more you have to form the concepts behind those words and create whole worlds from the words that you're using. Remain with your selfless self. Oh, I feel like going to this really amazing guru over here who's got all the answers, and so many people are becoming enlightened because of his great teachings. Remain with my selfless self. Is there any need for this? No. There's just this. All I need, I have. I am. There's no need to add anything to myself. Just I, just I. Sense of presence. If I'm not feeling the presence, meditation. If in meditation I'm not sensing a little subtle presence, mantra with meditation, and try to keep the mantra going all the time. Presence the size of a dime, I remain with my selfless self. I start to train this concept of mind, like we talked about before, the horses that are going out, I rein them in. No, 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 let's stay here. No need to go galloping off into the woods. No, no, let's be here. Let's be here. Let's be here. Now, while I'm here, oh, hunger comes. Okay, Let's eat. While I'm remaining with my selfless self, I get thirsty. Okay, let's drink. Remain with my selfless self, time to do my job. Okay, I can do my job. I never have to leave. I be with you always. Always is not like occasionally, or only on special occasions, or only when the moment is right. Be with you always. Just die, just die. Nisargadatta Maharaj talks about in the morning, you wake up and it's a little fuzzy, just that presence. There's no world has not started yet. You don't even realize yourself. And this just die, this subtle, subtle sense. Maharaj says you'll feel it, and you will. You have a body available to know yourself in a real sense. That's why Maharaj says this body is a golden opportunity to know yourself in a real sense. Not through books, not through talks, not through videos. Yourself, with yourself. Just die. Just die. What could be more important?
I find nothing more interesting.
It is exact. In the beginning, you're training your mind that I want nothing but this sense of presence, this bliss, this nectar of immortality. I really don't want to run after little things outside. You know? Oh, look over here, look over here. No, I'm just going to remain myself with self.
Although my interest does get distracted. Like you say, go ahead and do what you like, but what I like distracts me.
Well, be with your selfless self instead of being distracted. Do what you like, but be with yourself. Do not leave your selfless self. That's what they call nirvikalpa samadhi or sahaja samadhi or whatever, because all activities are done within yourself. It's spontaneous action in the moment. There's not a need to sit there and say, oh, I can't do this activity. Activities are spontaneous action in the moment. There's no sense of a doership. There's no sense of even being a body. Like, it's not impressed on you like, oh, I'm this body. Think about it. Even in everyday life, do you say, oh, I'm this body. I need to walk this way down the hall to go to where I am going and out the door? No, but you don't. You don't have to put on a body to go out into the world and do things. Like, you never have to say, like, even in the working from home, oh, I'm sorry, I need to put my body on before going to work.
John, you were very naughty, you know. I just wonder how you were when you were a kid.
When I'm who?
When you were a kid.
Oh, when I'm a kid? I told you I was actually not a good kid. I was a very bad kid.
Yeah, I could. I would agree with you.
But again, that's an illusory story, which I no longer really identify with. And the cool thing is, even in memories, there's no like, there's no.
Identification.
It's not a connection like it's me that's doing it, or like,